So in John 16, Jesus says something about the work and ministry of the Holy Spirit, which I've never really pondered deeply before, but just recently came across and wanted to think more about it. So I want to share that with you. It's when Jesus says that it's better for him to leave because he's going to send the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit has a threefold ministry. Now, more than that for sure, but there's these three initial things that Jesus emphasizes is the work of the Spirit. He says he will convict the world of sin and righteousness and judgment. And then he unpacks that with one sentence on each piece. He says, sin, because they have not believed in me. Righteousness, because I'm going to return to the Father. And judgment, because the prince of this world is judged. So let's consider the first point just for a moment here concerning sin. We would probably often articulate or define sin as being evil behavior, destructive, selfish, cruel, anything that really is a vandalism of God's shalom and a violation of the image of God in the other. But Jesus here actually does something a little bit different. There are a million different ways that sin can be expressed in all kinds of unfortunate and evil ways. But Jesus here seems to consolidate all of that into one singularity, one concise reason why things go wrong. And he says he'll convict the world of sin because they have not believed in me. So belief in the incarnation of the Logos, the second person of the Trinity, who appropriates human flesh in the person of Jesus Christ, unbelief in that one, Jesus says, is sin. It seems to be his place where all sin starts, is this place of unbelief, not recognizing, not affirming, not living with gratitude and affection towards this one who is the revelation and the personification of God. That unbelief in Jesus is the ground zero of all sin. Because a great burden of John's Gospel is to provoke within us belief. From chapter 1 to the last chapter, he goes all the way through this whole dichotomy of belief and unbelief. In chapter 1 he says that those who receive him, those who believe in his name, shall have life. So belief is this deep theme of John's Gospel, and here the primary work of the Holy Spirit to counteract sin is also to provoke belief within the world. And unbelief is articulated and defined as sin. So here we have, I think, a really important theological point in that really everything continues to revolve around Jesus. He is the center of all revelation. He is the center of all truth. He is the center of all reality. And a denial of that center is by definition sin. It seems to be the single and primary sin. So the work of the Holy Spirit, yes, is to convict of behaviors that violate shalom and offend or vandalize the image of God in the other. But the primary sin seems to be unbelief in Jesus. Because he is the light of God. He is the face of God. He is the glory of God. He is the primary and singular revelation of the life of God to humanity in human form. And he didn't just come to talk about the Father. He came to demonstrate the love, the fullness of the love of God through the cross and the resurrection and the ascension. So I think these are important truths for us to ponder and wrestle with, because if sin is a factor in all of our lives, then it's important to know what we're up against, what we're dealing with, and how to tackle it. And Jesus seems to be saying here that the antidote against sin is deeper and stronger and purer belief in God the Son. And that in itself will activate within us a strength and a faith and a life and a virtue which is good and right and aligns with the will of God, both in our personal lives and also in our behaviours, decisions and circumstance. So hopefully that's some good food for thought. And next time we're going to consider the second phrase that Jesus uses, that the Spirit will convince the world of righteousness, and we'll give our thoughts to that. So until next time, take care.